Well, good afternoon or good evening if you're in the beautiful USA, and if you are overseas, it's already nighttime, or in the Pacific Rim, it's already Super Saturday morning. I am Bruce, aka known on here, the guy in the blue shirt, and my method is called Simpler, Faster, Better, because I'm a process improvement whiz, and I am here with Genesis, and Genesis is all the way in California. I forgot to ask you, you're actually in California today, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. So, Genesis, tell us a little bit about not only the city you're in, but where you're located. And then we will be chit-chatting about everything networking and talking about high potential, high performing leaders and all sorts of stuff in between, right?
Yes, absolutely, for sure. So I'm in Roseville, in California. It's more of a small city. And usually I tell people Sacramento, it's easiest if you're not familiar with California. It's a big
Right.
place. But I love it. It's really easygoing, nice. And if you ever want to go visit somewhere, I think it's really peaceful to go about and just take a stroll.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, see, I said we'd find some common ground. I'm heading to my passion is IndyCar racing, and the last IndyCar race is up in Salinas, which is north of where you're at. So I think I'm going to be driving up there. So, hey, we might actually be able to meet in person on my way to the racetrack. How about that?
That would be pretty cool. Hey, maybe I'll take a stroll and try it out.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you want to come to the race, why not? It's that particular racetrack is a 4-mile circuit, and it's in rolling hills, and it's in a little city called Salinas, which is closer to Monterey. So
Okay.
sometimes they call it Monterey, sometimes they call it Salinas, but it's in a beautiful part of Northern California for sure.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful. Definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, it's September 11th from memory, but I can confirm that with you. So yeah, if you've never seen an IndyCar race, that is one of the best. Never?
No.
Oh, it's one of the best circuits to go see it at, because you can actually walk all the way around that particular circuit. So it's a nice 4-mile jaunt to stay healthy, but you get to see the race from all sorts of different angles and perspectives. So it's pretty interesting. Anyway, a little bit about what I'm passionate about. So, so that's how real life networking works, right? You find a common ground, and you might say to somebody, "Hey, would you like to join me?" And you said yes. So, talk to me about some of the things that you do with your high potential leaders. I know you love working with people more in your age region, and so tell us a little bit about the networking things that you're doing and what you've been learning from that.
So I dove into and first of all, let me say thank you for having me coming on board. Like, thankful for this opportunity. Always meeting someone new. I just tell anyone listening to this, like, I advise them, meet someone new, have a conversation. You don't know how much you can support each other when you form that community.
Yeah.
Going into speaking, I love speaking. It's my everything, honestly. In terms of giving back and being fulfilled for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Started networking when I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what business cards were. Being quite honest out here, I didn't know what attire you needed to wear, what networking was, and just learned the importance of like helping each other in that community, right? Forming that really positive tribe with people that can support one another professionally and also personally. So once I started at 18 years old networking and getting into big rooms with corporate individuals and people that have wisdom way beyond my years, I said, this is life changing. Like, where am I taught this in school, and I was reflecting, I was like, not as much as I should know. I was like, these are real life skills that are going to help you for the rest of your life, right? And just thinking about longevity in terms of success, I got so driven into it and just wheeled into and was like, I'm going to give this a shot. So I started going to networking events that were local, just looking them up online, showing up in business attire and dress more up than dress down, I thought was a way to go. And, it worked out. And from there, I just started learning what value can I give? Because I learned that it's a space where people meet when they're authentic, of course, and it's to give value, right? to
Mm-hmm.
help other people. And through that, I think it's just such an important way of giving. If you haven't read the book, The Giver,
Right.
it's truly just about that, right? How can you give to help one another to form those really like crucial, valuable relationships, you know?
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
So it's interesting because we were talking a little bit about the power of the electric blue, and in 2006, I met a lady called 𝐷𝐷, who I still remember, and she used to help with marketing and messaging with attorneys. And I met her in unusual kind of circumstances, and I was both financially broke due to the financial crisis that happened then, but I was kind of broken as a person. And she said to me, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Nothing," because I was out of work, just living, job to job, little job to job. And she said, "Okay, I'm going to take you to a networking meeting." And I said, "Well, what's that?" That was my first. I mean, I knew but I didn't know what it really meant for her. And anyway, she said, "And by the way, wear electric blue." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, all of my attorneys, when they go to a hard trial case, in their closing arguments, they're going to wear this color blue." So anyway, I managed to find a shirt, and we went to this meeting. And I also said to her, "Hey, why did you have me wear this electric blue?" And she said, "Well, people get calmed by it. And the second thing is it makes the color of your eyes pop and people remember you." So that was my first adventure into, what we now call personal branding, which is how can you be memorable with simple things, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward to, a lot of networking, a lot of different things that I've done professionally and personally. And, in 2019, I started going to LinkedIn locals in the Los Angeles area, and I met Gracie Ruth Melendez there, and she could never remember my last name. So she used to just say, "Oh, just go ask that guy in the blue shirt." So since 2019, the color's been the same, but the whole mojo of, how I created this persona of the guy in the blue, and it's stuck ever since. And people do remember it. They don't remember my name, but they remember the guy in the blue shirt. So what's a memorable moment that you might want to share from your networking, a good memorable moment that's happened to you?
Oh gosh, there's so many because I just think there's so many good people out there networking and people that I owe so much to in terms of mentorship, but in terms of something that stands out, I think is someone just taking the time to sit down with you
Mm-hmm.
and help you.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people, so I can't pinpoint one person out, but I think
Mm-hmm.
the fact that someone says, "Hey, I'm willing to sit down with you during a coffee chat and
Right.
like listen to your needs and try to help you with those needs
Mm-hmm.
and not ask for anything in return," I think is just leadership 101. It's
Right.
incredible. And I saw that continuously going into these conversations with people just saying, "How can I help you?" And I was like, wow, like, I don't think I've ever been approached with that type of value before.
Right.
And never ending value when you get in more and more involved in these networking groups. So just learning that people really want to help more than we think. And when we involve ourselves in communities of people that want to help people, that's when we grow. That's when we learn the most. That's when we get to like the future person that we want to be at the end of life in terms of like what we want to do, you know?
Sure. So I wanted to shout out to Rob House. Rob is a great guy, and we're going to be
Yes.
collaborating down the road. And so the point about Dallas was the reason I said that is the other rule of networking that Dee taught me. She said, "Bruce, you need to give before you get. So don't have any expectations of getting anything. Just give, give, give." And it's funny because you mentioned the same, and it's fundamental. So what was probably one of the hardest things for you to adapt to or learn when you first started networking, so other people don't make the same, faux pas, as it were?
Hi Rob, by the way. I love Rob
Yeah.
too. Amazing individual. So giving. That's a great
Yeah.
example of a giving leader. And I would say just letting go of this fear of what people thought of me was really big for me personally. I think the imposter syndrome, right? A lot of people
Hmm.
deal with. in terms of, am I good enough to offer value? And so I had to switch that more fixed mentality and network to, I am the most valuable asset, but not with the ego-based mentality, but a giving-based mentality that just, in essence, being present,
right,
listening to someone and giving them your time and genuinely being there to help them is the most valuable thing you can do in that moment to that person.
right.
So I think just changing that mindset switch, whoa, definitely changed my life.
So, so how did you, tough question, how did you drop the ego?
Ego is something I feel like we need to learn how to balance it to help us for the better. But I think when it comes to networking, definitely something we need to push aside, right?
Right.
And I think it just took the thought of, I'm an everyday person, I'm an everyday Joe, and everyone out there is an average person. We're in this together. We're on different journeys of life, but we can't compare where we're at roads of success, because one point or the other, if we are in networking to network, and the true meaning of that is to give and to just go out there and to humble yourself, right? To give, you need to be humble, and to be humble, you need to be open. And so when you learn that networking isn't going to work unless you humble yourself and you say, hey, I think I do need help with this skill set, or hey, I don't know what I'm doing at all in this area of expertise, that's when you start really succeeding in life,
Absolutely. And Rob's giving you praises. I agree. She is awesome. I've seen her material. That's why she got invited as a guest. And Russ Hedge, Mr. Networking, digital networker, the man himself. Hey. So thank you for supporting us. If you don't know Russ, you should get to know Russ. He's an amazing individual, and along with Rob and many other people. So if you had to do, you've mentioned community several times, and I think that's a word that means many different things to many people. So how would you describe your version of community, and what makes you stand out as a community builder? So if I was asking somebody about, hey, what is it about Genesis's community that makes you say, okay, I'd like to be part of that?
I think it's something that I value probably the most when it comes to helping others is being authentic, right? And having that pure intention of giving, that when I give, I'm an individual that I won't stop until I've given to that goal, right? That goal I've set. I want to impact this many students this year. I want to impact this many lives dealing with mental health, etc. Right? I think it's that drive that I have from just like personal life experience that has just matured me in terms to be thankful. I feel that I view life as a young Gen Z in a more thankful perspective that I'm trying to give to other young Gen Z generational kids, where I don't see the empathy as much. I don't see the kindness as much. And I want to bring that back into the picture, because that is so important and crucial for generational beings in the future to really impact this world in a positive space, right? Impact it in a positive way. So I just feel it's that I'm authentic no matter what, and being authentic, being true to myself, I'm going to be like a giving servant. That's my end goal. And I'll do anything and everything to help people to get them to where they need to be, because I have that drive. Like, I don't feel that I could say my final goodbyes in a sense. I know it sounds dark, but I just view it as a motivational factor. I can't leave this world until I help more people than I can ever dream of helping. You know what I mean?
Well, look, see, you made me go goosebumpy. The power of young leadership. I love it. And actually, we have that in common as well. So, I call that my legacy, and the way I describe my legacy, which relates to my community building, is that, I got 48 years worth of intellectual property between these ears, specifically in how you make, processes go simpler, faster, better by saving steps, time, and money. So I got 48 years of know-how in here, and it's like, and I'm single. I don't have any kids. So my legacy, what a shame it would be if, I ended up being cremated with all that knowledge in my head, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't really do anything for up and coming leaders like yourself. So my part of my drive to share simpler, faster, better, my method is because I want to retool, or I want to help tool up and coming high potential leaders like yourself. And so even though our method is a little bit different, our end mission is the same, which is how can we leave that long lasting legacy, so that if somebody said, hey, what do you remember about that guy in the blue shirt? They're going to say, well, he wanted to share simpler, faster, better to save steps, time, and money in everything we do, right? So if they just remembered that would be like a huge imprint that I can leave on the planet before I fly off to wherever I'm going to go, right?
Yeah, I agree. Legacy is key. I think in your mind, like, I feel like we connect so much on that. Just talking about it just now is a legacy that is meant for the future, right? A legacy that matters for people, to help people, to change their lives in a more positive way, give them a more positive direction, positive, options. And I think it's more of a legacy for others than us. And I think that's when you have to program your mentality to a giving mentality, where you try to put other people first in a way, right?
Wow, you are so mature beyond your years. As I was saying to you offline, I wish I was at your place when I was at your stage of life. I would be like Mark III with my hair on fire now. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But honestly, I just feel anyone and everyone has the ability to give. And when you ask yourself, am I worthy? Or like I used to ask myself, do I have anything to give? Look at what makes you special. Look at what makes you unique, and give that to others, because I can assure you that they may not have those attributes, but they can give you attributes that they have that make them unique, that you may not have right now, right?
Wow.
So it's just about give to give and helping each other.
All right. So if I asked one of your best friends, what would be your top 2 attributes they would tell me about you?
Top 2, compassionate for sure.
Compassionate. All right.
Very compassionate. I am very easily swayed to help people. I love that. It's probably my biggest passion in life, honestly. And it's just what keeps me so positive. When people ask me, how do you always keep that smile on your face? How are you so positive? And they're very confused. And I say, it's just the fact that I think that helping another person makes me so happy, and taking a small step to do it. It doesn't have to be something every day that's huge, but it could be something as that day I went to the grocery store. I had a conversation with the person checking me out. I asked them if they were okay. I asked them if they were happy. I complimented them. I asked them how I could help them, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's those small conversations that give me hope that we can really change the world for the better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's that smallest of detail. And I often used to get, those sideways looks when I was talking with people that are in service and maybe doing pretty mundane jobs, but I always try and go out of my way to, and it doesn't matter if it's in a restaurant, in a grocery store, in an assembly operation, which is where my sweet spot of working is. It doesn't really matter where I'm at. I try and make sure that I try and speak to what I call the heartbeat of the organization, the people that are doing the repetitive, not so glamorous work, the behind the scenes stuff. Those are the people that really keep any organization's heartbeat going really well. And often they're overlooked. It's not the faces of the company. It's not necessarily the faces of the brand that really make the company work. It's everybody else. So I always go out of my way and to do a little bit of that. And so a little example, I went to get my, in fact, I'm lucky my computer's working. I went to get a new hard drive last night.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
I know. I've been frantically, and I went to a guy called Ken, who's local, and I've used him. And he works in the business with his sister and his mom. they're a family run business, and they're Asian. So, I'm there and they're chit chatting, like that. And then something happened, and I said to him, Ken, oh, I forgot, could you do this? So he needed to spend longer on getting my computer going again. And his sister left, and then his mom was about to leave, and she had this big old cart. So I just walked out and I said to her, hey, let me get the door for you and all that. And she was like blown away that, number one, I noticed, and number two, that I would, because, it was 103 degrees outside of their office. So So I held the door open, and she got her car out, and I said, do you want help going across the parking lot? And she said, no, I got it. And it's just that small gesture and I'm sure it made her day, thinking, well, these younger kids don't care,
Yeah, absolutely. You completely made her day. And it's people like you that make the world better. And I just say that because when people give, I feel like it's not as rare as we think, but I think it makes a difference that I view that as longevity, right? It's not going to last just that day. It can change a person's life. And I don't think we notice that until we see the impact it creates, which is just amazing.
Yeah. Well, people talk about the ripple effect, but sometimes it's not even a ripple. Sometimes it's just a little murmur. And that murmur can, when it's respoken and respoken and respoken, it ends up being a pretty loud noise that you can create. So, yeah, and there are actually places in the world where they actually use the harmonics of the stone to actually do that. A little murmur becomes a big old loud chant in some organizations, or places, I should say.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
So I know you love to speak. Who do you like to speak to?
Students, ages 15 to 24, high school to college is my niche. I believe the students of today are the leaders of the future. Yeah. I'm still in college, but the people that have given me the encouragement, motivation, mentorship, just believing in me, made me be the person who I am today, made me be a fearless, bold woman that years back I couldn't even look at someone in the eyes. I mean, I was petrified to even walk into a store by myself and ask them a question. So, I mean, in terms of how I've grown, it's because of people, and because I know the impact it makes when someone looks at you in the eyes and they tell you that they believe in you. They tell you they have resources to help you, is why I go to schools and nonprofits and places where there's students and I can help them, because I know that impact lasts, because without impact, I wouldn't be here today. And I can guarantee that.
Absolutely. That is so, again, you are way wise beyond your words. You're decades beyond your years. So good job.
Appreciate it.
So during one of your events, what's probably one of the hardest questions you've been asked by one of the students?
There's a lot of questions that have been asked, but I think in terms of, I'm not sure if it would be difficult, but I think heartbreaking to me is motivation, right? Or self-belief. When they look at you and they tell you that they don't believe in themselves, they tell you they don't know how to even start getting a direction because no one has ever helped them. No one's mentored them. I think that saddens me, the fact that no one has tried to be there for them and made them feel less alone in their journey and given them the resources and skills to be where they want to be, to grow, to be more confident individuals, to be more bold individuals, to have a better mindset, how to change your perspective so it's not dark every morning when they wake up and they feel hopeless and they feel lost. I feel like it's those questions that really tear me up, and I try to stay strong because I'm an emotional being that loves to give back, and I know I need to be strong for them, so I keep a straight face, I give them a hug, and I just try to tell them what I think can help them. But at the end of the day, it takes more than one person, and that's why I think a tribe of people that want to help, we can genuinely change the world together.
Well, a little sidebar on tribe. We have indigenous tribes here, so I want to be respectful of those. And so I came out with this new group name for the people that I jive with. I call it my Jive Hive, and the hive is to do with the bumblebees. Attracting good honey is much easier than pushing things along. So when you attract people, it's way better. So yeah. So my community is all about building relationships, and hopefully they become my Jive Hive. And you don't need too many of them to really start to multiply not only the impact of that, you've mentioned that word several times, but also, to really get to know somebody who is in your Jive Hive, who really is in your community, and be aware of, how you can help them. And then in return, it's how they help you as well. It becomes a symbiotic relationship. It's amazing. So.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Good. So what's the most bizarre question you've been asked when you've been speaking?
Bizarre. I mean, I feel like I kind of just blocked those out because I'm like, what was I asked? Interesting. I don't know, in terms of something bizarre that just stood out, I don't know if I can honestly remember because there's so many questions that just come at you that you just need to process and answer right away. It's like a 5-second process, think about your response and shoot it window. But I just think in terms of not so much bizarre, but I think maybe perplexed in terms of like how and whys that make me really think, and good questions that I need to analyze that. I really believe these kids are super intelligent beings. I think just giving them the credit, even though, they're young, and so to say, I'm in that niche of Gen Z and we're young individuals, we still try to go the extra mile to think outside the box, right? I think it's just acknowledging like these kids are young, but they're super smart beings,
Oh my God, yeah. And we were talking about technology offline, they're enabled by technology. I mean, people like myself and Russ and maybe Rob, we were all analog guys. We used to have to do things the hard way, like I was talking to you offline. And so enabling those sharp young minds with the technology as well. It's amazing how much leverage. And again, I'm catching up, but I'll never be in your quadrant in terms of use of technology. So
you can be. There's never no.
I go after it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, even though I'm a behavioral introvert or an ambivert, I still go after it sometimes.
That's good. I love that. You have that go attitude, and that matters a lot.
Well, and actually tomorrow I'm actually looking at some really groundbreaking technology that I think I might have a use for. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be, it's really out there. I've not seen anything like it before. So we'll see. I might bring, because I'd like to I'd like to join technology with, my analog method, simpler, faster, better. And if I can combine the two to turn it into a supercharged process, I would love to do that. Love to show people in my, the baby boomers in my space that, hey, you can go after technology and enable yourself and look at what you can do with it. So we'll see if I can make that happen. So
that's great. I believe in you. You got this.
Well, I have a dream. Thank you. I have a vision of how I want it to be, but we'll see. I might be flying off with the windmills, on another planet or something. I don't know.
All that matters is that you give it a shot and you try.
I will. Yeah. So you said, thinking out of the box. So when you next talk to a group of people, if that comes up, I would suggest you ask them, what if there is no box?
That's good.
Because what I found is that, there are like multiple levels of how a team operates. They start basic, then they start to become high performing, and then they become super high performing. But then some of the teams I've worked with before, I've got them to be no box thinkers and talk about taking tradition apart and talk about changing all the rules. Because with no box thinking, there are no rules and there's no lack of resources. So that's the way you think. So I don't know if you've ever heard that before or anyone's ever said that to you, Genesis, what if there was no box? What could you do? What would you do? And how would you go about that?
No, that's so good. I don't think I've ever heard it told to me that way. Honestly, I've always heard like, what if there's no barrier, no limit, but like no box? Like that is powerful in itself. That describes how to have that open mindset. That's really good. I love that.
Right. Well, and because the other thing is when you do out of the box itself configures a shape, right? It
Yeah.
gives you some constraints around your thinking and your process. So if there's no box, you don't have any constraints around anything.
That's so, so good. That reminds me of something that always comes up in my head, and it's just the question of what if you had no fears, right? What
Oh
if
God, yeah.
you had no tomorrow, to say the least? What would you do today? Who
Right.
would you call and say that you love and you appreciate? What impact would you make? Who would you open the door for before walking in? You know, it's like those little things that maybe we may get distracted by in terms of this, you know, just hustle paced society. And I think when we're present, we can think about those questions that really, really shape our character and our
Yeah.
morals, you know.
All right. We'll talk about a question to shape your character. Where can people find you? Firstly, and what have you got coming up that you'd like to share with people, particularly in the next few weeks?
Where you can find me, so LinkedIn, just look me up at Genesis Vaquero. Shouldn't be too hard to miss. All
Yeah, there aren't too
yellow,
many of you.
that too. Yellow icon, big yellow banner,
Right.
bright yellow mustard. So if you see that, that's me. And Instagram, Genesis Vaquero _. Still working on my website, revamping it, redoing it. You know, there's always something you can do. So I'm trying to amp that up. That will be coming out soon. And in terms of what I'm focused on right now, I've been working on a book for a little while, trying to get that in the shaping, make sure that it's in the right direction I want it to be. So obviously LinkedIn will be the first to know when it comes out. And then just staying focused on my students as my niche, as my community, and speaking to them as much as I can.
Awesome. So on the book, are you doing self-publishing?
Yes, self-publishing. Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of the Kindle direct publishing process?
That's what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's low cost, high impact, and Amazon do all the distribution. So
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I actually have a little journal. My journal.
Okay. That's so cool.
Fix It journal, and this is a Kindle direct publishing product, and it's print on demand, so I don't have any inventory, and anyone can buy it through KDP. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's an annual journal for them to, and it's got 26 process improvement tips in it, and places to doodle and places to journal and just do whatever they want to with it. And they can start anywhere in the journal. They don't have to start in the beginning. They can start at the end, middle, whatever they want to do. So
that's great. I'll have to pick one up.
Yeah, or I'll drop one off in September. We'll see. But yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, if you need it beforehand, just let me know and I'll let you know the link. So all right. Well, thank you so much. As I mentioned in our setup, I'm going to do my little outtake. Don't go away.
I won't. I'll stay here.
All right. If I can figure out where it is. So, here we go. Use of technology. Look. Boom.
So, what if your processes do not work well? Did you know you can save or eliminate massive amounts of wasted steps, time, money, or other resources? Bruce can show or teach you how. Take the next step. Visit his website at processcleanup.com and book a casual yet confidential call with Bruce. It just might change your world forever.
There we go. Use the technology.
Exactly. Might as well use it while we have it.
Yeah, for an old baby boomer, it's pretty good. All right. Well, our thanks to Russ and Rob. And if you're seeing this as hashtag replay, you can put hashtag replay or just ask your question. And either Genesis or I or both of us will be sure to comment back. And if you need any additional resources, either from Genesis, you know where to find her. Or I'm pretty easy. I'm the only guy in the blue shirt on LinkedIn, so find me there. So thanks so much, Genesis. You are a joy and an absolute. I just can't believe how mature you are for your leadership. It's amazing. Thank Thank
you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on here, and thank you for everyone that listened. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Don't go away.